Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you a few of the tips and tricks that I've learned about how to get a good yet non-distracting background scene for a subject matter that's going to be close, or if you just want to get a good background scene that's got some detail but not too distracting, just something to set the scene so that you don't just have a white background. I was commissioned to do this painting by a good friend of mine. He was giving the painting to a friend of his as a wedding present, and apparently I'm not 100% sure if I'm getting these facts right, but she was getting married, and she is part of a cattle's association or has something to do with farming, and she has a favorite cow. I didn't even know that was possible until I met my fiance, and she has a few of those cows that she really likes. I mean, I thought the attachments to animals went as far as cats and dogs and maybe an occasional lizard, but I didn't know you could have a favorite cow. Anyway, that's what I'm going to be painting today, is a very close-up painting of a cow, but I needed a background so that it wasn't just a single cow in a white painting, because that would be relatively boring. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of blocking in some distant trees in a field, and I kind of have to go back to something that my sister said a long time ago when she was watching painters, and she said that it looks like they have no idea what they're doing. And the reason is me as a painter, as far as personal experience, sometimes when I'm painting something, I have an idea of what I want, but I just start laying down textures, kind of like what I'm doing here in the foreground, just to kind of give myself an idea of where everything is before I start actually giving shape to things and making things stand out. And that's just an easy way of kind of figuring out, just kind of covering the basics, is block in everything. That's what artists are talking about when they say the block in stage, is where you're just kind of putting things in and just kind of positioning everything in the painting so that it's there and where you want it, and after that you can kind of go back, as I'm doing here, and kind of making things stand out and giving them a little more contrast. Now there's something I want to highlight in this tree that I did over here in the corner. I went back over the trees you saw and added white paint in splotches, and it looks bad. The reason is the light is coming through the painting. So what you have to do is you have to add the white in there and then go back over it with the black, so that the black is going to be on top of it. As you can see right here, I go back over the top of it and add those branches in so that light is just peeking out, because that's basically what I'm trying to achieve, is the illusion of light coming through some broken branches. And it's much easier to do that when you go back over it with the black. Don't really know why, but that's just kind of the facts of the matter. Now there's something that you're going to want to do when you are painting backgrounds like this, and that is to not get super detailed, because your subject matter, most of the time, depending on what you're going to be doing, is going to be the center of the focus. And a friend of mine, actually a cousin of mine, explained it this way: when you're doing a painting, you want your eyes to move around the painting evenly and not get distracted by one thing. So if you have a centerpiece that you want the eye to be drawn to, you don't want your background to be distracting. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're doing a background like this. Now, I just wanted to add in some fences, and then just adding some relatively non-detailed grass and just simple strokes, just to give it a little texture in the foreground right here. And these fence posts are literally as bare minimum as you can. I mean, it's just a black line with some uneven rungs, and some of them are broken. I've realized that giving you some broken rungs and that are uneven gives you a more of a authentic look, because if you've ever seen a three-runged wooden fence, I defy you to find one that doesn't have a rung that's broken, or if you do find one, that's a very well managed cow farm. But sometimes it looks good if they're broken. It gives it some character, as it were. Now, like going back to what I said about just giving you enough detail but not enough to make you distracting, it's just little fence posts in there and some grass at the bottom, just kind of give you an idea of where it is, and some light on the edges of these these posts, just to kind of give you an idea of where the light's coming from. Now this painting has a very indirect light source. It's kind of coming from all directions, but sometimes it's better just to give you a highlight on one side just to make it look a little bit realistic. Just adding some highlights to the grass in the foreground. And the main thing that you're going to want to do when you're adding little textures like that, again, I can't stress it enough, don't make it too detailed. Just enough so that you get the idea of what it is, but not enough to draw your eye away from your subject matter. And in the very middle of the painting is where the cow is going to be. It's actually going to be very large, and which is the reason why later on in the painting I only do grass on either side of the middle and leave the middle bare, just so that it doesn't look like I am just randomly putting grass on either side. There is a reason, and the reason is the cow is going to be in the front of in the middle of the painting, and I didn't really want to have to paint over grass and paint grass in an area that I knew that I wasn't going to be doing anything with except painting the cow over. Now, grass is something that took me a long time to even make look mildly good, and I still have lots of trouble with it, but it's a good detail filler, and it's a good thing to put underneath fences like this, just to kind of give you something where the fence stops, so that it doesn't just end in nothing. It's a good little detail that makes, as Bob Ross said, it'll make it look like you spent hours on this painting, but you only spend a few seconds putting that grass in. And I actually finished this painting in 2 days. It was one of the fastest paintings I've ever done that had this much detail in it. I kind of just put the work in and just really got after it, and it really paid off, and I got it done pretty quickly. Now, I'm using a 2-inch brush here just to kind of give me a blocked in of where my grass is going to be. And then one thing that's going to be very important is to not make it look symmetrical. This side I did pretty well. I wasn't 100% happy with the way the other side turned out. But when you are painting grass, the one thing you're going to want to do is stay away from making it look like there's a bunch of lines going straight across, because you will fall into that tendency of making it look like that. Also, if you're doing a black and white painting, it's much easier than full color, in my opinion. And going back and forth between the light and the dark, adding highlights and adding darks into it is something that is very helpful to me. I mean, I can only vouch for my personal experience. I've never had any formal training, and I've never went to school for any of my art. I literally picked up a paintbrush and started painting. Just so you know, that's my cat, who just made a cameo appearance in the film. His name is Trump. There's a story behind it. Comment below if you want to know the story. Anyway, back to my painting. Now, there's something I've learned in grass painting is you never want to give up. If something doesn't look right, don't start over. Just keep adding texture. Keep adding little blades of grass. Sometimes change your brushes. I changed my brush like 3 times in this little section, and I think I'm using like a inch wide dagger right now, because I left this particular paintbrush with paint in it for too long, and it dried, and it made all the bristles really stiff, and it's actually turned out to be really good for painting grass. But never stop when you get to a difficult place in your painting. If you're having detail problems, or if something doesn't really look right, change your technique, go at it from a different angle, maybe move to a different part of the painting, but don't stop and give up on a painting, because you're never, especially in acrylic paint, you're never going to get to the place where you can't start over. And not really start over, just change your technique and keep pushing through and adding more detail, adding more texture until you get it to where it needs to be. And something I've learned that can help you, if you have something that just doesn't really look right, especially grass that you're trying to make look kind of misty and blurred out, is just get yourself a 2-inch brush and wet it down with some really, really thin paint that's kind of in the middle of your highlights and your dark, and just kind of brush it over the top of it like I'm doing right here. And what it does is it just brings up your darks and makes them look more gray and makes the white look more less bright. But anyway, thanks you guys for watching. This is the first part of my 2-part series of this painting. Please come back tomorrow or next week and I will show you the next part of this painting. Thank you for watching.
Subscribe now.